You guys, you have to have an overcomer mindset. We can't just, the first hurdle that we come across, we just give up, throw our hands in the air. This is too much. I can't handle it. We're never going to be successful in business, and most definitely won't be seen as having that it factor if you play victim and you just give up when the going gets tough. So new levels, new devils. The more you grow, the bigger problems you're going to have. But you also learn and grow and expand, and you're able to overcome so much more.
What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan?
Welcome back to my show, The Rebel Show with Bree Mesquit. I'm Bree Mesquit, and today I am going to be covering how to have the it factor. Now, we've all heard this term before. Actually, how this even came to mind, why I wanted to do an episode on this, was I was watching the new documentary that's on Netflix about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Literally last night, I was watching it, and one of the things when the girls were auditioning, they were going over all the judges, and that each judge that they chose was someone who had the it factor themselves and were able to see that in others who had it as well. But they said, they're like, it's the unspoken it factor. I'm like, why is this unspoken? I want to speak about it. Let's dissect this. Like, what gives you that it factor? Is it something that just comes natural, or is it something that can be learned? I think it can be both. So I wanted to talk about that with you guys today and just cover and give you my thoughts. They may be right, maybe wrong, maybe 50-50, I don't know, but these are the initial thoughts that came to mind when I heard that. I'm like, what is an it factor? What does it take? What are the components to have that? So I broke it down into 8 different characteristics or traits that you need to have that it factor, in my opinion. Okay, so first is being a master of your craft. So whether you are a waxer or a cheerleader, being a master at it, having put in the time, seeking the education, seeking the training, and ultimately really just putting in those reps. So it's consistency over time. This isn't you can't become a master of your craft overnight. This is something that just takes time. It takes reps. It takes higher volume. So everyone's timeline of mastering their craft is going to be different. I think the general rule of thumb that I've heard before is 10,000 hours makes you an expert or a master. So however you break that down, that's kind of I don't know. I've heard that quite a few times, so I think there's something to that. But becoming a master of your craft is so important. Okay. Secondly, being an effective communicator. So being able to communicate your message clearly and confidently, and being able to start building rapport with your clients, with brands, with employers, with potential, maybe down the line with students, once you start training, but being able to effectively communicate, even with future employees as you grow. That's what we're working on now, is really trying to become effective communicators so that we can lead our team well. So I think that's huge. A part of having that it factor is being an effective communicator, both to effectively communicate your brand message and what your values and what you stand for, and to just be able to get things done, to be able to be clear and guide your team well. Next is having creativity, being a creative. So this is really important for, first of all, standing out from the rest of the crowd, but showing up authentically, being your true authentic self. Celebrate your uniqueness. These are good things. We don't want to fit in with the crowd, okay? That's not going to give you that it factor. If normal and average is not it, okay? We are being true to ourselves, and whatever makes us different, amplify that, be proud of that. So I think creativity is huge in having that it factor. Even with some of these brands, some of these girls, I see, man, I've seen super goth waxers, and I love their whole brand. It's all dark and moody, and you could tell it's just very authentic and unique to them. It really draws me in. I love it. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. It's so unique, and it's so them. You can tell they're being truly authentic. Okay, I'm getting off on a side tangent, but this is something I've been talking to my husband a lot about lately. I am so tired, and I can find myself fall into this too. we are not here to be the next, like, these are the people that I'm consuming right now because I'm really trying to build a team and build our business. So like the Alex Hermosis, the Layla Hermosis, the Andy Elliott's and Jacqueline Elliott and Bedros Cooley and my coach, like, stop trying to be the next one of them. Like, I tend to compare myself. I'm like, okay, I need to do this like Bedros does, or do this like Jacqueline does, or do this like Layla. It's like, no, I'm here to be the next Brie Mesquit. Like, you can be yourself. You can have creative ideas. Like, I'm learning to start to trust myself a little bit more. So anyways, just being creative, really staying true to you and not just trying to mimic and regurgitate. Like, so boring. There's enough others in the world. Like, let them be them and you be you. You be the best version of yourself. But it's so also, this frees up so much stress, you guys. Like, when you are trying to emulate someone else constantly, you're not living your true authentic self. It is so much pressure. And that is not something I'm willing to try to keep up with. So like, what you see with me is what you get. That's a huge compliment I always receive. My husband and I, when we do trade shows, they're like, oh my gosh, you're exactly in person how I imagine based on like what you put off online. So I just never want to be that person who has to try to like hold face based on what you're putting out on the internet when it's like not your true authentic self. No, thank you. I am not signing up for that. That sounds like an absolute headache, and it is. I've seen it. Okay, next. This is probably number one, like especially with being an entrepreneur, being adaptable and having an overcomer mindset. Okay, so I'll share a little story with you. Yesterday, I've learned, actually the next episode I'm going to be filming is all the current failures and lessons that we are experiencing. And one of them happened yesterday. So we use a thermal printer for printing our shipping labels and packaging slips and all of that. Well, yesterday why was I in here? I was doing something. I can't remember. Oh, I had a client. I actually took a client. So Chance went and was handling all the shipping labels, all things. I took my client, and as soon as she left, he comes in with kind of a panic look on his face, and our printer just like went crazy. I don't know. Like it started spitting out labels here and there and packing slips and skipping some. And it was like chaotic mess. And he already had printed quite a few and gave them to our packing team. So they started packing orders. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, now I don't know, because I know how to fix that issue and like start the printing process again, but it's a matter of like, well, what's already been packaged and shipped out and what hasn't been, so that we're not sending duplicate orders, which would cost us a ton of money and just be like a huge disaster. So yesterday was absolutely wild. Then I couldn't get usually I know all the steps of like what to do when it's giving us issues, like unplug it, reboot it, go to this screen. Like I know all the steps to do that have worked in the past. Well, it didn't work this time. And it kept just like, we wasted so many shipping labels, which are not like cheap. And it was just a complete disaster. So I had a little bit of a meltdown. Quick interruption to the show. I wanted to make sure that you are aware of my free 6-week hard waxing 101 course that I have put out for waxers to gain confidence in the treatment room, no matter where it is in your waxing career that you are at. You will also receive a certificate of completion once you complete the course. So visit us online, lashwaxoc.com, and you will click the training tab. Now back to the show. At first, I was like, okay, I honestly want to send everyone home and just like call it quits, because yesterday was like, it was wild. We started training for our 6-week marathon training program. Our kids just started summer camp again. Our family that was visiting had gone, so we were like finally kind of coming back into routine. I was actually really excited about yesterday to get back on track. It's been, my kids have been out of school and it's just been chaotic. We've had weddings and all the things. And I'm just like, I was over it. I wanted to honestly give up, at least in that time, like at that moment, I really wanted to give up. And I'm like, okay, no, that's not how we got to this point in business. It's not by giving up. It's becoming a master of overcoming these obstacles as they come up. And there's a lot of things that you can't really prepare or plan for. So first, I went to all like Staples, Best Buy, Office Depot, all the places around here locally to see if I could buy a replacement thermal printer. Now, this is one hard thing about living in a small town is like Amazon, it is not same day or next day delivery for us. It takes the fastest I've ever gotten anything is like maybe 3 days, but on average, like 5 to 7 days. We did not have 5 to 7 days to wait for this thermal printer to come in. So I'm like, crap, I ordered one anyway, so it was on its way. So like I knew I have that, like I know I have that coming. But first we just drove around to stores. No one had anything in store. So then I just needed to take a step back for a moment and then think. And then I thought back, actually, I'm like, wait, remember how we used to print labels when it was like, when we were brand new, had no idea what the heck we were doing, and like, we were just trying to get it done and it was super inefficient? Well, actually, like, let's go back to that. So I got my laptop, I started printing on my regular computer paper, so not ideal, but like we got it figured out. I was able to have them go and pull every package that we packaged yesterday, sort through all the labels, see which ones were duplicate, toss those. Like we finally got it figured out. So it's really, really important that you can go with the flow. You can be flexible, adaptable, and it's most important to have that overcomer mindset. Okay, next is going to be being professional. So maintaining high standards of sanitation for our industry specifically. So, you're using proper sanitation. You're making your clients feel really comfortable that you are maintaining your space well and that they're being taken care of. Providing fantastic customer service. Okay. I just did a episode on this, so go one back where I talked about creating the best overall memorable client experience. So not only do clients book with you, stay with you, they also will go and tell their friends about you as well. So having excellent customer service is so important. So go back and listen to that episode if you missed it. Also having great bedside manner. Okay, this is so, so important. You want to have great bedside manner and always keep it professional. Even once you start really building that relationship with your client, becoming friends, you still want to make sure you're keeping a professional relationship with your clients as well. And then also having ethical business practices, so important. We need to be truthful, trustworthy business owners and not people who are just trying to take people's money and run with it. Okay. We want to create a really valuable experience and service so that we're exchanging for their money something of value back to them as well. All right. Passion. Someone who has the it factor is so passionate. And I know you can think of people that exude the passion for whatever it is that they are into. So for me, it's waxing. I think you guys could probably get across from me that I am so passionate about waxing. I'm also very passionate about helping women discover their potential and having the confidence to really pursue their dreams, whatever it is that is. So being passionate, having a genuine love and enthusiasm for your craft, for waxing, and also really finding joy in serving others. Like at the end of the day, we're in customer service. Okay, we're in the service industry. And if you don't genuinely love others and serving them and creating a great experience, it's going to be really hard to grow a really successful, thriving business. Next aspect of having the it factor, I personally think, is being a master networker and marketer. So being able to build relationships with potential future clients and also like potential cross referrals. So being able to just communicate and network and be a likable person is going to be huge in helping you grow your business as well and having that overall like it factor. So again, you are always focusing on building through networking, through marketing, that like, no, trust factor. Okay. It's so important that we continue to focus on building that between ourselves, our followers, our potential future clients, our current clients, anyone in our life. We're always working on building. You are a representation of your brand. Okay. You are your brand. So anytime you are out with your girlfriends or whatever, you're just living life, like you're representing your business and your brand. Us as solo waxers or waxpreneurs or whatever you want to call our position, we are entrepreneurs. We are representations of our brand. We are our business. So super important to keep that in mind. So I think that's really important. Being a master networker and marketer is going to be huge for your success and having that overall it factor. Lastly is going to be being business savvy or having that entrepreneurial spirit, okay? And personally, I feel like this is something that people kind of naturally have. Like I know for me, when I was super young and people would ask me like, hey, what is it that you want to do when you grow up? I'd always say, I want to be my own boss. I didn't quite know what that would look like. I didn't have like a specific career path in mind. I just knew that I wanted to work for myself and be my own boss and build my own empire, and make my own rules, the rebel in me. So having a knack for, or at least an extreme willingness, but not just the willingness, it needs to be followed up by action to learn about business. Okay. So if you don't naturally have any of these things, so what did we go over? We said being a master of your craft, an effective communicator, creative, adaptable, having an overcomer mindset, professionalism, being passionate, a master networker and marketer, and then having that entrepreneurial spirit. If you feel like you're lacking in any of these places, these are things that can be learned. I think it can be a little bit more difficult. I really think that there are people who have these kind of just come naturally to them, or maybe a few, quite a few on the list, and there's some that they need to work on. Like for me, I know I'm really needing to work right now on being an effective communicator. That's probably the one area that I'm lacking, and I'm starting to see in myself that I really need to put some more focus on that. So not everyone's just going to have all of this naturally, okay? But I do feel like some of them do tend to come a little bit more naturally, but don't let that be a discouragement for you. These are also things that, again, with the willingness, but the taking action on the lessons learned, they can be learned and they can be implemented, and you too can have that it factor. So I hope this was valuable to you today. I'd love to know your thoughts too. This, again, I just was watching that show last night. This just came to mind, and I quickly wrote down some notes and my thoughts on it, and I wanted to share it with you guys. But I also want to make this more of like a talk between the two of us. So let me know what you think about this. If you have anything to add, if you disagree with anything, I'd like to hear that too. More than open to constructive conversations, ultimately to help us all grow and all become the best versions of ourselves for both ourselves, our families, but also for our clients. So I'd love if you guys can subscribe if you aren't already. You can share this with a friend, leave some comments below. Let me know what you thought about this episode, and I will see you guys back next week.